All right, hello to all of my friends who are joining us via recording. There are about 20 of us here in our classroom. We are going to work our way through some of the information that's posted for you. We are going to talk about how to go forward, and we are also going to vent with each other. So I started a recording because we are all sharing our sentiments that we're feeling really overwhelmed, that we are feeling really nervous about stuff. So I'm going to bounce back over to the chat and look at stuff. Yes, being scared of almost everything, 100% get that. And I agree with Mary Lou that's probably a really common feeling right now. Let me just toss this out there for the chat. What are some of the things that you guys have been doing that have helped with that a little bit, or what are the things that you've been doing that haven't helped with that? Can we get some ideas out there? When you're feeling really overwhelmed, what has been helpful or what hasn't been helpful? What are some ideas that we have for my friends who are here in the classroom? Chat it out for me in that sidebar. Not helpful is procrastinating. Yeah, that applies to on-site and online, right? What I will say is that technically last week was spring break, so technically nobody is behind at this point. I'm glad that some of you have taken the time to start working on stuff, but technically I couldn't assign anything for last week. So you're not behind if you haven't worked on anything. Let's see. Yeah, lab packets. Excellent. So starting to work on those lab packets. It does take longer, definitely, to work through things, and I am trying to get you some resources to make it as efficient as possible. It is going to take time. Recognize that we spent 5 hours together in class, and then that doesn't include all your study time out of class too. So as we go online, expect to be spending a lot of time. And I know that sucks because online is not how we wanted to be spending our time. But yes, it is going to take a lot of time. I'm glad to hear that outline that I posted for you for lecture number 9 is helpful. What I will say too is if you have not already printed lecture number 10 and number 11, please don't. I am going to try to revise them to make them match the guided activities better. So if you don't already have 10 and 11 printed, don't print them. Lesson 10 is almost done. It should be popping up for you here by Wednesday. My deadline for myself is Wednesday. So lesson 10 will pop up, a new outline for lesson 10 will pop up, and then you'll have that lesson 10 homework that'll show up as well. So yes, I'm glad to hear that will help. I am trying to do everything I can to lower some of that stress. It just really sucked for Monday, Wednesday, friends. You guys are lucky because we hadn't started talking about the muscular system yet. We hadn't started filling in notes for my everybody else. For Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, we had all already started filling in notes for lecture number 9. So we had half that lecture in one format and half that lecture in the other. So that's a little rough. Kathleen asked if you have to print updated ones. You may not have to. If you're willing to do a little bit of detective work, it's going to be pretty much the same bare bones, maybe in a slightly different order. So if you had gone through and started using the guided, the lesson number 9 to fill in your lecture number 9 outline, how to do some detective work before I posted that updated one, that's what it's going to be like. So it's pretty much the same content. It might be in a slightly different order. What you could always do too is if you have 10 and 11 printed, you can pull up the new one that I'm going to post for you and see where the differences are and just use that to find where they're the same. So it's not a total wash. Like I said, a lot of that information is going to be the same, and I'm happy to help you if you have some issues with particular places on those previous outlines. The lab ones have not changed at all, though. So if you went through and printed everything for lab, you're good. Lab has not changed except that we dropped off the special census lab. So everything else for lab is exactly the same. Lab packets will not be replaced. Thank you for your encouragement that I'm great. I really appreciate that, guys. It's been it's been a week. I think we can all agree, right? It's been what, 2 weeks, 3 weeks? I don't know if you guys can tell my calendar behind me. Time stopped. Here's my week for spring break. I always cross off where we are. And time pretty much stopped for me before spring break, and it hasn't really started again. So yeah, oh my goodness, it's been forever. It's been crazy. So yes, and my goal, Mary Lou, is to stay very transparent with you and communicate more as opposed to communicate less. So that is why I am hosting the office hours with you guys every day. That poll that I put out across the board, 9:30 a.m. was the time people wanted. So I will be here every day from 9:30 to 11:30. Now, if nobody's in the classroom with me, I am not gonna sit here and stare at the camera and look all pretty and stuff. But you can always send me an email if you pop in at like 11 o'clock someday and I'm not in here. Send me an email and I will have my email open and I'll pop right back into the classroom. Yes, Lindsay, your question about anatomy for babies. So this only applies to my Friday lab friends because you guys had an extension on anatomy for babies. So let me see if I can be tech savvy. Let's try something. We are going to go to the Blackboard site. This is going to look pretty similar across my sections. So you guys all have about the same Blackboard site. For my friends in Friday labs, if you did not already turn in Anatomy for Babies, over here on the left, Anatomy for Babies project area, if you click on this, the very bottom of this area, I've got a space here, Anatomy for Babies draft number 2 submission. What you are going to do for me is you're going to take a picture of the cards that you've made. Take a picture of the front side, take a picture of the back side. You are going to upload those pictures into a Word document. Save that Word document so all of them are in one place. And this is the Dropbox that you're going to submit them into. So I am going to grade virtual versions of them, obviously, because campus is locked. You guys can't bring them to me. So you'll take pictures of them and upload them into Word, and I'm going to grade them here from this space. So again, we're in the Anatomy for Babies project area of the course Blackboard site. Here is the Dropbox where you'll submit those into. And notice that the due date on that is the start of what would have been our lecture time on Friday. So hopefully by now they're done. If they're not, you have until Friday at 9:30 in the morning to draw them, to write your words, to take pictures and get it all uploaded for me. So you should probably plan to try to have this done by Thursday night, just in case you have any technical difficulties. But here's where that's going. So you're gonna submit that through Blackboard for me. All right. Let me go back to the PowerPoint here. So I'll bring back up my friend Dory. What I want to do, just for my reference really fast too, is I want to ask you guys some polling questions during virtual office hours, which I'm going to pull up that schedule and we'll talk about virtual office hours a little bit more. But during those hours going forward, I might have some questions like this, kind of like those questions we do in class where we did poll everywhere. So we're going to practice a little bit with polling and just see how this goes. So I've made some questions, very basic questions here that we're going to work through together. Let me pull the first one up and see if I can be tech savvy enough to build your poll really fast. Bear with me. Here we go. Okay, you should all see, hopefully a little thing that popped up on your screen. Good, I'm getting some responses. So yeah, there is no D. I'm glad no one's picking D. I would be a little concerned. If somebody picked D, it's like, oh, I'm not in your classes. Perfect. I'm really glad. So half of us have chimed in. Again, it should have popped up at the bottom underneath the question. You should see a little notice. Can't see the question. If you click on the picture of the graph down below, that should open it for you. Okay, all of us but 3 have put in our answer, I think. Did that show it to you guys? Can you see the answers that we picked, or did it just show me? Everyone can see. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, so I'm really happy that we've got people from all 3 of the lab sections. Perfect. So lots of Monday, Wednesday friends. Not surprised, this is your normal class time. Still got some Tuesday, Thursday, and some Friday friends as well. So the thing with virtual office hours is you are welcome to attend them any day of the week. I am going to record them every day of the week and try to get them posted for you. I know that schedules may have changed, or maybe your schedule hasn't changed. I don't know. But I will be hosting them every day of the week, covering different topics every day. So maybe use the topics as a guide for what days you should come. Come to as many or as few as you can. That's perfect. So glad we got people here from every section. I'm going to clear those responses. But was this supposed to come over from, let me go back to my chat here really fast. It doesn't pull, so the answer that you pick, it doesn't pull it from the chat window. There's a special, there's a picture of a graph next to your raised hand. That's where you would have put the answer in. So it didn't add something you typed to the poll. For the group homework, I will talk about, yep, I'll talk about that group homework assignment. We'll get there. Yeah, the little graph icon. Yes, okay, perfect. So Mary Lee found it. Okay, awesome. We're gonna do some more practice with it. So we'll just do lots of practice and see how we do. So we got people from every section. Let me go to my next question here. I probably have to build a poll again. So much fun. Okay, oh, well, here we go. Let's update. Did the poll come back for you guys? Can you click on that graph again? Yes, okay. So the graph, when you have it open, is probably hiding the answers. I apologize, that's a format fail. So if you click on that graph to hide it, you can see what the 2 answers are. And then once you've read the answers, go ahead and pick the one that seems most correct for you. It won't let you answer. Let's see, clear, stop, let's try again. I will just build a new one. I hope I don't have to do this every time. Okay. 1, A, B. This is why we're practicing. Practice for everyone. Man, I told you guys the air was on, and now I'm starting to question. It's getting a little sweaty on my side over here. Okay, I've got votes from 14 people. Oh, 15. Awesome. I'll show you guys. Once I show you, it'll stop. I can choose, but it doesn't do anything. It must have already it must have already registered the response then, maybe. Or it's just being buggy. I'm not grading these, obviously. So do your best to try to get a response in. If it won't come in, that's okay. Right now, most of us are saying that our normal class time is generally still available. Got a couple of us that their schedule has changed. My schedule has changed too. As you guys know, I have my daughter. She's now at home. I am super grateful for my mom, who is a teacher in Colorado. In Colorado, they have said that schools will be closed until at least April 17th. So grandma is coming to live with us right now, and my daughter is really excited about that. That allows me to have some office hours. So for those of you that your schedule has changed a little bit, I feel ya, and I totally understand. So All right, I'm going to stop that poll, going to put up my next question, and I'm going to build a new poll since I think I have to do this. All right, I'm interested in your work schedule. And by work, I mean not class work. Obviously, some of us are working a lot more on class now, right? I'm meaning your job. What's going on with your job? I probably should have clarified that. Yeah, well, yeah. So Lindsay, yours is, I don't know. Would we say that we're working the same or that we're working more as a stay-at-home mom? I feel yeah. Schedule is crazier. Yeah. I'm going to ask a somewhat personal question, and you don't have to answer, but if you are comfortable with it, has anyone? I'm out. Okay, I was going to ask, has anyone lost their job? I know it's a crazy time. Out of work 3 weeks. I have a 3-year-old. Yes, yeah. So going home to a 3-year-old, it's not like you don't have a job anymore right now. It's just a different job right now. Okay, well, we got a mix of things haven't changed. We're working more, we're working less. I was just curious. You could say that maybe I'm working a little more. I don't know. It was a lot easier to just come to class with you guys. Online on-site classes is easier for Dr. Allis too. So this is not a transition I was planning to make this semester with you, but we will all work it out together. Okay, yeah. So Bailey said that she hasn't lost her job, but they're closed down. Yeah, with the orders changing recently, I think a lot more places are going to be closing down until further notice and doing a lot of cleaning stuff. Yes, definitely. All right, I'm going to close that one down. And I will come back to this, by the way. Yeah, if you work in a hospital, I bet you are getting called in, definitely. Our first group activity that we're going to do to get us ready for the projects that we're going to do in groups to kind of keep collaboration going. The first one is actually a reflection on how things have changed for you since the pandemic. So this kind of discussion is the kind of thing that would be perfect for you to put into that activity. And I promise we will come back to that. So we'll talk more about that. Probably not weekly. They're probably going to change by unit, would be my guess. Kathleen had a question about the groups. So we'll talk more about that. I will not forget to talk about that group work. So let me close this poll. Let's do the next question. And some of us have already answered this. Let me build a new poll for us. Yeah, Eileen, that's why we're doing a practice one that is not content related. So we can figure out how to do it without it being high stakes the first time we try to do the group thing. So I have a needy fur child. Yeah, you could count that. That kind of counts. Okay, so I've got votes from about 2/3 of us. Anyone having trouble finding the poll, by the way? Yeah, I debated putting kids or parents, but with the parents, especially with aging parents, it's kind of the same boat because we aren't taking aging parents anywhere, just like we're not taking kids. So yeah, you could vote that as a being home with children, definitely. And again, for anyone having trouble finding the poll, down at the bottom of your screen, there's a little graph. So if you click on that, it'll pop up and you can put in your vote. Yeah, college students home. Yeah, college and high school. Yeah, high schooler has already social distanced. I could feel that. No more empty nesting. That's probably a little bit sad. My daughter was in school until Wednesday of last week. And I'm going to be fully honest with you guys. I have, because I'm pregnant, I have been taking social distancing very seriously. So I pretty much have lived at home for a lot of time since they started recommending that. I don't know how many of you know Dr. Smith, who teaches microbiology. She's my next door neighbor on campus. And she's been very serious about keep yourself safe, prepare for this for them. So took her advice and have been doing that. So the only time I'd really been leaving the house last week was to go pick up my daughter from school. And full honesty, like it almost made me have like anxiety. Like leaving the house was not good. So glad that she's home now because grandma's in town. Glad she's not potentially bringing back coronavirus for us. So that's my moment of truth with you guys. It's a scary world right now. So we're all kind of scary together. So either we don't have kids or we're home with them full time. That looks to be about the way this, I'll show you guys. Sorry, I didn't show you the last one. Here's the votes that we got. So either they're home with us all the time or we don't have kids. All right, let's do another one. Gonna build us another poll while you read it. I probably needed to stop that other one, sorry. Okay. I'll show you this one while you're voting too, just so we can see. I think it should let you keep voting. Will it still let you vote or do I need to hide responses? What do we think? Let me hide them since it's not updating currently. If you were trying to vote and it didn't let you, there we go. Yeah, they're coming back in. Yep, asthmatic. I am an asthmatic pregnant lady. It's awesome. It's a great time to be living in a huge city. Is the background noise okay? Did it get significantly louder or did it not change? It's okay. Okay, I turned on my fan. My office is now up to 74. So I'm thinking the air is not on today. Perfect. Okay, so I got a camera that works. All right, well, let me show you guys where we're at in the poll. 4 of us are part of a high-risk group. Actually, make that 5 because I can't vote in the poll. 4 of us specifically are part of a higher risk group. And then an additional 6 of us live with someone who is in a higher risk group. So this is why social distancing is so important, right? Because we've got, of the 20 of us in our room here, over half of us either live with someone who's at high risk or we are high risk ourselves. So yeah, pretty crazy stuff here in our little small group. All right, let me see. I think I have one more question. Yes. Okay. One more question. I'm going to read it and I'm going to build a poll for it for you. All right. Poll is live. And if you still need to read answers, just click on that chart and it will disappear so you can read the answers. And then when you're ready to put in your answer, you can click back on it and it'll open it back up for you. And I'd like to get as many votes as possible. Been working on both for a week. Hey, that's great. I think that's an awesome thing. It's definitely not required, but I'm glad to hear that you're getting some work done on them. Any last minute votes for me? I got 5 people that haven't answered. 4 people. Okay. All right, let me just pop up the responses so you guys can see them. It looks like most of us have at least looked at something. So that's good. We will look at and talk about some things together. I'm looking at the chat a little bit. Let's see. So dining room versus my office. Mary Lou, that's an old comment that I didn't respond to before. If they keep the air off, I'm gonna start staying home, especially on Thursday when it's 85. I haven't bumped into anyone here at school. The building is locked, so if there's no one here and I wear my gloves in and I wear my gloves out, it's okay for now. It may not be an always solution. It'll probably start being the dining room table here pretty soon. So let's see. Didn't look because I felt overwhelmed. Okay. Yeah, now that we're not technically on spring break anymore, right? So we'll definitely talk some more about how to do this in a way that's not overwhelming. Homework was hard. I get that. In the sake of transparency, I will tell you that things are going to change pretty quickly in our class. Something that's already changed. Originally, I was going to give you 3 attempts on the homework. My goal with the homework is for you to learn. So as of yesterday night, you've got unlimited attempts. So yes, the homework is going to ask you to think in ways that we would do together in class that we're now doing online and a little more separately. But you have unlimited attempts on that assignment. So please go through and use it to help you study, do a lot. Will they stay open for the rest of the semester or close after each unit? They will be closing maybe less than each unit. I need to make sure that we aren't waiting until the night before the test to do all of our homework. So I am going to tentatively have them right now open for 7 days. When we get closer to the test, I might make you a review assignment like we did for lab that pulls some of the questions if you want to see some of those questions again. But to make sure that we're not just saving everything to the night before the exam, because remember we said what's not helpful so far has been procrastinating. So to keep us on track, they're probably going to be due about once a week. But I'll try to build us a review assignment as well to get us those questions back. Okay. Yeah, want to collaborate, but have to respect social distancing. Absolutely. What I will say, and you might have to test this, the way that I set up our classroom for virtual office hours, I believe that you guys could come in when I'm not here and collaborate with each other. So if you went into the GroupMe and said to all your GroupMe friends, hey, if we click on the virtual office hours link tomorrow at 5 p.m., we can all turn on our cameras and our mics and we can talk things out together. So maybe plan a time outside of office hours that you want to try to pop in here and see if you can use it. If that doesn't work, I may be able to set up another link that might work for that. I have also heard, let me do a quick search here. I think it's called Google Hangout, or there's another one. Do I have any Google savvy people? Yeah, you could use Zoom. That's true. Zoom is the same idea as this. Zoom is free. So if you can't get can't get Blackboard to work, yeah, you can try Zoom. You can try Google Hangouts, Google Chat. Yeah, lots of options. Okay, and we're saying if you have FaceTime, you can add up to 4 people to that. Awesome. Pauline, if you don't have a good way to communicate with everyone, I would recommend joining your class's GroupMe. Let me go back. Let's see. Let me try to share my screen again. go here. Okay. Everybody's class has general course information in Blackboard. So we click on general course information. Down toward the very bottom, everybody's class has its own link. So I would recommend, sorry, my computer's being all funky here. Down at the bottom where it says Group Me, if you are not already part of your class's Group Me, this is a class-wide text message. So this is a way for you to ask questions to each other. This is a way for you to organize a time that you're all going to log in together. So if you are not already a member of the class Group Me, again, we're in general course information, and down at the bottom of general course information, Group Me. Go ahead and add that. It lets you text each other without actually exchanging numbers. Let me go back to my chat, see what we got going on. Google Chat. Martha, I see you raised your hand. I don't know if that means you have a question. If you do, feel free to turn on your mic. I'll go ahead and stop the poll. Let's see, I'm sharing that screen, so let me see what else I got in here to share with you guys. Actually, while we're in Blackboard, let's go ahead and do this. Okay, so the first thing I asked you guys about was how many of you had looked at our first online lecture. So let me show you where that is. Let me show you some stuff. I'll mention I'm over here in lecture resources in our course Blackboard site. First thing you're going to hit when we go into lecture resources in the Blackboard site is a frequently asked questions document. This is going to be a great reference for if you have not already downloaded it, please do it like now. It goes through and breaks down what's happening in lecture, what's happening in lab. Our overall grading scale has changed a little bit since we're done taking quizzes in lecture and in lab. So look over that. If we have time toward the end of our session today, I will pull that up and we'll kind of work through it together. But that's the top hit here in lecture resources. The second hit that you'll see here is our virtual office hours schedule. And well, I'll go ahead and talk about that now. So I'm going to shift gears on you, switch screens. Bear with me. Okay. Every week, I am going to create for you guys a virtual office hours schedule. So the goal of this schedule is to give you an idea of what I'm planning for us to talk about each day of the week. Otherwise, I'm sitting here for 2 hours and it's really awkward for everyone. So I have for today's sessions, today is Monday, March 23rd. Let me see, I think I can write on here. We're just going to play with all the tools today and see how it goes. Today's Monday, March 23rd. So you're not hearing, well, okay. If you can't hear me, I shouldn't talk. Let's see. Make sure your volume is up. Are other people hearing me? Want to make sure everyone else can still hear me. Okay, we can still hear. Okay, so today is Monday, March 23rd. Our office hours today, the only plan I have for today is to help us get online. So our main topic is what does it look like now that we're going to be online. We've talked about some stuff. We're going to talk about some more. You'll notice for each of the office hours, I have made you a checklist of the kinds of things that I think you should do to prepare. Now, office hours will never be required. You do not have to come to office hours. If you come to office hours, you don't have to have all of these things done. However, if you have done these things, you will be better prepared to ask me the kinds of questions that will help you in these sessions. So please don't feel like you can't come to office hours because you didn't get through the checklist of what I said you should do. Please still come. just know you might have more questions than your neighbors if you haven't had a chance to look over things. And it might be questions. If you remember in class, sometimes I tell you guys, okay, I'm going to be that mean teacher and I'm going to make you look this up. If there are some questions that I know were covered in the stuff that I assigned for the day, I might do that. Or I might say, hey, friends in the chat, can you answer that question for me? Symphony's asking about recording the office hours. Yes, I am going to record at each of them. And I will try to make this announcement when I open up the room every day. But if you ever come to a session and you didn't explicitly hear me say that I'm recording, please blow up the chat for me and be like, hey, Dr. Allis, I think you forgot to turn on the recording today. Because absolutely, I know that I got friends that are working. Some of us are working more than we used to work. And none of us were in class except for me, right? None of us were in class Monday through Friday. So I know you won't be able to come to all of them. I will be recording them and posting them. Yeah, feel more comfortable asking questions behind a screen. I totally get that. Yep. So that's the goal of these office hours. Ask a question behind a screen. We will work through it together. We'll do what we can. But I do ask that just like when we were meeting for class, how you guys were studying for quizzes, how you guys were working on stuff before you came to class, please don't stop doing those study skills before these virtual office hours. So for today, what I wanted to do was to take a peek at the lesson number 9 in week 11, look at that together. I mentioned the ICR, or it's a fancy word for the syllabus. Really the biggest thing that you've noticed in the syllabus is our new grading scale, which I posted for you in the frequently asked questions document. So I'll point that out. We will look at the online groups together so that you guys can see what's going to go on with those. And then you'll see this for every single session I host. I'll say, bring a list of questions you might have. So that's going to be true whether we're talking about what it looks like to go online or whether we're talking about lecture stuff. That's what we're talking about tomorrow. And Wednesday will be lecture stuff, lesson number 9. The week 11 lab is going to be the topic for Thursday. Friday is kind of going to be a free-for-all. So bring your lecture questions, bring your lab questions. Notice that what I mentioned for you on Friday is to make sure that you've done at least one attempt on your lesson number 9 homework. That's the lecture homework. And remember, I have turned that into unlimited attempts. So please do like 5 attempts. I don't know. Try to figure out what kind of information you don't know so that you can bring those questions on Friday. That'll be a wrap up. We are going to talk about groups, Pauline. I will get there. So here's kind of my plan for the day. Obviously, if 5 of us come in and we all have a question related to what's happening or scheduled for another day of the week, I am happy to adjust accordingly. But this is kind of the overview for the day. So you will see me post this each week. Probably my office hours are just going to stay 9:30 to 11:30 every day each week. Probably will not change. So this, again, let me see if I can be tech savvy here. Switch back. Application when nope, let's go back to here just to show you again where you'd have a copy of this. You have a copy of this right here, week 11 virtual office hours. So that's available for you, and I will post one every single week for you. So that is office hours. Let me go back to my chat just to see what we got here. I am going to, I wonder if why that's happening is, let me go ahead and mute everyone. Maybe that will keep, Martha, if you have a question, type it in the chat for me. Yeah. And just a general rule, unless you have a question that you're specifically asking, please click on your microphone to, so there's a line through it. That's going to make sure your mic's not on and it's just my mic on. If you have a question that you want to ask me talking, raise your hand and we can turn on that mic and we can do that. Let me all. Okay. Yeah, and please keep blowing up the chat. If it happens that I'm bouncing in and out, please let me know, and I will do what I can to stop that. Okay, so let's talk now. Well, before I move on, do we have any questions about virtual office hours right now? Any questions that I did not address? No. Okay, not for me. Okay. Well, the chat is going to stay up. If I can only make it Monday, Wednesday, that's totally fine. Yes. I'm going to post recordings of the ones that you can't make it to. And if you have questions that relate specifically to what we're covering during a particular office hour, please email those to me. I had a student in the Friday lab email me last night, and she said, I'm not going to be able to make it to office hours tomorrow. Can you make sure to cover where we submit anatomy for babies? So yes, absolutely. I'll cover it in the session, and then I will also send a follow-up email to reply to that.
It's 10, 20, 30.
Irene, do me a favor. Yep, Irene, do me a favor and make sure that on the bottom of your screen, there's a line that goes through your microphone. Anytime that line is gone, your mic goes out to the whole class, and it makes it hard for other people to hear. So just make sure that microphone keeps a line in between it. I don't think without me, I can go in and manually turn it off, but just be careful with that microphone. Okay, so let's talk now about lesson number 9. One of the things I told you guys to look at is lesson number 9. Lessons are always going to be right here. So I'm in the lecture resources area of Blackboard, online learning modules. That's what I'm calling the lessons. This is essentially what we're doing instead of lectures. So we click on online learning modules right here. Right here is lesson number 9. Lesson number 9 is going to be the way that you walk through and cover content in the way that we would have covered it in class, or as close to the way that we would have covered it in class as possible. I hope as you guys look at, I've given you an updated lecture outline. I mentioned this before, don't print this because there's not space for you to write the notes you need to write. But I hope as you look at this updated outline, you realize just how interactive our classes were. I asked you guys a lot of questions, and so it's really hard for me to translate that into an online environment except through something like a lesson like this. So let me see if I can get it to open for you. I am going to trade screens. Bear with me. We'll stop sharing that, and we will add. Where did it go? Lesson number 9. Okay, let's do this. All right, help me out. Are we seeing, let me click continue. Are we seeing lesson number 9 on our screen? Let me know in the chat. Are we seeing it? Perfect. Okay. Answered questions. 3. Martha, I'll come back to your question because it looks like it's lab related. And if you still have it later, let me know. Let me pull up the lesson. So every time you start a lesson, think of it as the same thing as we had our lecture packets. So you've got your learning objectives at the beginning of that lesson. These are the exact same learning objectives as were on your lecture packet, at least for number 9. It's changed. I took a couple off number 10. So number 10, the learning objectives won't match up entirely. Again, I think it was just that I deleted one of them. So there's one fewer learning objective. The way that you're going to use this activity is you're going to take the time that you have when you have it to go through and start working on content. So here we are looking at our first part of what was your lecture number 9 packet. So the first thing I asked you guys to do in lecture number 9 was to review some stuff about the types of muscle tissue. So rather than me lecturing them at you, I found you a video that covers all of those types. By the way, this guy must be British, right? How many of it have any of us watched this video? He's pretty funny. Skeletal muscle. It's pretty fun. So skeletal muscle is skeletal muscle. The kinds of things that you can find, the kind of information you can find in this video, I've listed for you. Here's kinds of the questions that you should be answering. Now, for this packet only, so for the lecture number 9 packet, notice that I've told you this is where it goes in the lecture number 9 outline. Remember that starting in lesson number 10, the one that's going to post by Wednesday night, I will make you a new outline that tracks with it entirely. So you will see these questions in the notes packet in the space for you. So just be aware that you aren't going to see things like this in lesson number 10, because in lesson number 10, I'm going to give you an updated outline that matches it perfectly. So first thing that we're doing here in lesson number 9 is we're learning about the types of muscle tissue. Okay, there's a video that talks about the types. Next thing we're learning about in lesson number 9 is the parts of skeletal muscle tissue in particular. So here's the parts of your outline where this kind of information goes. Here's the kinds of questions that you should be answering as you watch the video. Again, it's my British friend here, so it's more skeletal muscle, but everything that he says, it matches up with the kind of stuff we were talking about. So as you go through these guided activities, there are short videos. I think the longest one is maybe 10 minutes. Short videos for you to watch repeatedly. Watch them as many times as you want to. These are the big ideas, the questions that I give you. These are the big ideas that you should be catching that kind of information from the videos. Let me see if I can find. Occasionally, and this is going to happen. Okay, here we go. Occasionally, you will find in the activity that there are places where you hit more words, where there's not a video with a set of questions for you to answer. Oh, got audio issues again. Okay. So occasionally you will find a page like this one. We're on page number 8 of. Okay, I'm really trying to keep that microphone off. Irini, do me a favor and maybe put your phone on the counter. It looks like you keep bumping your mic on. I keep turning it off. Please try to make it stay off because we're getting some background noise. So occasionally you're going to hit a page where there's a lot of words. There is not a video. That's because the way that I talk to you about something in class, I couldn't find a video that would summarize it. So when you hit pages like this, use that to help you fill in your notes packet. Use that, summarize this, basically. I want you to pretend like I'm literally standing in front of you at your computer, next to your bed, right? Because one of us is doing class from bed. I'm standing right there next to you, and I'm literally saying these things out loud to you. Pretend I'm saying them out loud. What would you write down if I was saying them out loud? And I know some students have mentioned, man, I'm going to miss those wink, wink, nudge, nudges. Hey, the wink, wink, nudge, nudges are the things that are in bold. It's the thing that's underlined. It's the things that are bold and italicized. So when you're looking for the kind of information that's most important, look for those things like we see. Let's see. Yep, it'll let me highlight it here. Look for those things that I see in bold. Okay, that means it's important. I got something here that's underlined. That means it's important. So it goes through and it talks through things that I don't have a good video for. A lot of times, though, you're going to see videos with questions. So here is some content that I described to you a little bit. And then I also gave you a video to pair with it as well. So that's the kind of thing you're going to see in these lessons, where sometimes I explain something to you in the way that literally if I was in front of you and talking it out, here's what I would say. Sometimes I'll use a video because it says the exact same thing that I would be saying. Let me go back to my chat and see what we're saying here. The activity is hard. Yep. So that's the activity, and let me go here to show you, because some of us have found the activity. I presume we're talking about this activity. Is that the activity we're talking about? Crickets. Maybe we're not talking about that activity. Maybe we're talking about the homework. What I will say with these activities is they are not graded. You can do them as many times as you want to. So if you don't get it right, you can compare answers with classmates. What I will tell you, by the way, about this activity right here is I was going to make you do this in class. It's literally on page 8 of the lecture 9 outline. So yeah, it's a lot of work. Yeah, it is. It's bringing together the ideas that you just talked about on several different pages. But this activity literally came straight from the lecture notes packet. So remember we talked about GroupMe? This would be something that we can hash out in groups with our neighbors and say, okay, I'm feeling real good about numbers 1 through 3, and I'm getting something wrong after that. What are we all thinking? So teamwork, absolutely, do what you can. You can do these activities as many times as you want. I'm not grading you. So if it takes you 20 tries to get them in the right order, that's totally fine. This is for you to practice before you go in and start doing the homework assignments, to try to see if we can get stuff in order. So as you work through the lessons, you're going to see some practice activities like we see in this one here. You're going to see some text. You're going to see some videos. I'm trying to create for you as interactive a learning experience as possible. I also am trying to create something where when your kids walk in and you can't focus anymore, you can make a mental bookmark. Okay, I'm on page 7. And when I come back to study, I'm going to go back to page 7. Or when you've completed your whole lecture packet and you're working on seeing your notes, okay, today I'm going to study the information that's from page 1 to page 8 of this lesson. So I'm trying to divide it up into small chunks that you can study from. That's the goal with these lessons, to work your way through. So tomorrow, the plan, I believe I asked you guys to prepare for tomorrow, to best prepare for tomorrow. I believe I asked you guys to do pages 1 through 11. So we want to get up through this activity. Maybe we can bring your tentative answers to this activity tomorrow, and maybe we can kind of try to hash it out as a group. Maybe talk a little bit more about it, see what we can do with that. So for tomorrow's virtual office hours, I'm happy to chat through information from the beginning of lesson number 9 up through here. Or if you get a little bit ahead, if you start working on stuff, we got some fun stuff in here. I'm gonna get it. Well, this is not fun. Saren's not fun. Saren is evil. But we do get to talk about Botox next time. So if you want to work ahead just a little bit on Botox and your neighbors don't have any other questions for us to address during tomorrow's office hours, we can always talk about Botox. So gonna be honest with you guys, man, it's been a week, so I had to make a meme. So I made this little meme for you guys. So whenever you hit it today or tomorrow or Wednesday, know that I made this for you, because we got to laugh a little bit, right? That's all we can really do, is we can just laugh. So office hours tomorrow, please make sure you've tried to work through pages 1 through 11. If you can work ahead, please do. This is our lecture material, most of our lecture material here for the week. Pages 12 and so when I say page numbers, I'm not referring to pages in the lecture packet. I'm referring to pages in the guided lesson, the online lesson. So we don't have pages 12 through 22 in the lecture packet. What I'm talking about with that, let me go back to my right screen here, is I want to make sure that starting with this material right here, ending muscle contraction, on Wednesday, this is about where I'm going to start our discussion together, or this is about where I want to make sure you've done some reviewing, because we might go through and talk about acetylcholinesterase, for example. So anytime you see page numbers, it's not page number in your lecture packet, it is page number on the guided lesson. That's a good question. So page numbers in that lesson. How far are we supposed to go through number 9? Number 9 is your main lesson for the week. So by the end of the week, you want to be all the way through, because you need to be all the way through to do the homework assignment. For tomorrow's office hours, I'm asking that you at least be through page 11 in the lesson. For Wednesday's office hours, I want you to try to be worked through everything. And again, by Friday, we want to be through everything as well. Kathleen's asking if the lessons are longer than the packets. By page number, yes. By content, no. It's the same amount of content. I just chopped it up into smaller pieces. So I took those lecture packets and went through and put them into more bite-sized pieces. And so you'll see, for example, let me go down toward the end, a little too far toward the end. Okay. Where's my lumberjack? Here we go. You will see page 16 of the assignment here, the lesson, excuse me, lesson number 9. Page 16, I introduce you to the idea of slow and fast skeletal muscle. All I explain on this page is slow versus fast. Then we go to page 17. All I explain on this page is oxidative versus glycolytic. That's all I explain on page 17. Then we get to page 18. And I explain myoglobin and mitochondria. That's all I explained on that page. All of that information was all on the same printed page of your lecture outline. My commitment to you guys, and what I will tell you with these assignments, is I am not adding any information. And especially with neurons, when we start getting into things like special senses or things like the spinal cord, I may actually even be cutting some information, because we lost a week of class. So I'm not going to add extra information for you to know to these activities. I've just chopped them up smaller. So by page number, yes, the lessons are longer. By content, they are not longer. Hopefully that addresses that questions. Eileen asked, where should we be in the lab packet for tomorrow? I mean, as far into it as you can be. With lab, we are switching over to everyone has the same schedule, meaning none of us are meeting on campus for labs, meaning there is not a reason for some of us to turn in our lab homework on Monday and some of us to turn it in on Friday. Everybody's lab homework is due Sunday night at midnight. So where I would recommend that you be for lab tomorrow, I'd say try to start working through the neuron stuff at the beginning. Or what I recommended for my students before spring break was that you go through and start labeling bone markings, even over spring break, is what I had mentioned for them. So if nothing else, go ahead and start doing that second half of the packet, and we will talk more about lab stuff in just a bit, because I want to show you the lab activity as well. Are the questions in the lecture assignments for a grade? No, they're not for a grade. They are for practice. You can do them as many times as you'd like, and please do. So if it bounces back and says you're partially correct, well, then just try again and keep doing it until you get it all the way correct. So yeah, take advantage of those. That's a chance for you to fail and it not hurt your grade. I know I have some friends who are joining us for the first time. What I will tell you is something that has changed since the frequently asked questions document. On the homework assignments, you now have unlimited attempts. So my goal is for you to learn, do that assignment 20 times and learn what you can. So we've got the practice in the lessons themselves, and then we have the practice or the homework assignments that are in Blackboard. Do you recommend printing out both packets for lecture and lab? Do not print out lecture number 10 and lecture number 11 until I post the updated one. The updated one should be popping up Wednesday for number 10. So lab packets, absolutely. Go through and still print those lab packets. That is still going to be your best study guide. The online lessons are to help you fill in those packets to create study tools for yourself. I mean, I guess if you just want to take your own notes and just use the online guided things for that, that works too. But if you really felt like those packets were helping you, then yes, please do still print them. But again, wait on lecture number 10 and lecture number 11 because a new version is coming. Yes, I know. I'm sorry, Mary Angel, that you printed some stuff before spring break. The lab packets are 100% not changing, and we're dropping lab number 14. So the lab packets, no change. Lecture packets will be similar. Like I mentioned before, I'm not covering any new content. The order might be a little bit different, but I'm not going to add any new content to what we're doing in these online activities. Before I move on, what other questions do we have about the online lessons? So I'll just go to the very end of this lesson just to show you when you've hit the end. Here's those learning objectives again, and a reminder on that homework assignment. That's the very end of the lesson. Yes, Dr. Adams will be doing, for my Friday PM lab friends, Dr. Adams is going to do a session during your normal lab time. You have a link to that in Blackboard as well. So I'm not sure what her sessions will be like, but she really wants to see you guys as much as she can, right? So that will be Friday at 12:45. She'll be there for a session like this. Yes, lab 14 is the only thing that we have dropped in terms of material that just is completely gone. I will be revising some of the lecture material, honing it down a little bit, but the only packet that's completely gone is lab 14. You should, Mary Beth, I believe you can access via iPhone. Do I have any friends that are on a cell phone right now? Okay, perfect. Yep. So that answers that question. You can access these via iPhone. Perfect. I have also heard, by the way, if for some reason you have issues with your internet at home, the Wi-Fi here at TCC extends out to the parking lot. So if it's if it's a bad day for your internet and it's not too hot outside, you could always come camp out on campus, use your AC, right? Which, man, I'm up to 75 in here. I think they cut my air. Yeah, so you can always come up and try to use the Wi-Fi here at school in the parking lot. No, Leslie, we do not get to do the digestive system, alas. Digestive system is AMP2. So even in the best of times, if we were on campus, I would still not get to do digestive system with you. Updated lecture lab due date. There is an updated tentative schedule. Let me, okay. Let me switch screens on you here.
David, look at this shoes. Shoes. رينا اتحرك دلوقتي. ما عرفتيش تعمليه؟
Okay, I am back in Blackboard for you guys. We're going to go to lecture resources. And we're going to go to online learning modules. Top of online learning modules is a revised course calendar. Let me see if I put that. I might have actually put that in here. Give me a minute. Here we go. Okay, so here is the revised course calendar. Look at how beautiful it was before everything went crazy, right? Like, here's what we did together in the top half of the calendar. If you look down here, here's where we are right now, week 11. I recommend for you, well, so here's what I'm going to say. Week 11, what you must do this week, what is due by Monday at midnight, is muscular system, lesson number 9. We must have number 9 turned in or completed. You have your online attempts. So must do this week, lesson number 9. Would be good to start at some point this week, lesson number 10. And like I mentioned, I promised you I am going to get lesson number 10 up by Wednesday night. So you can start lesson number 10. The assignment for lesson number 10 will probably be due at the end of week 12. So probably, so this coming Sunday, lesson number 9 is due. Next Sunday, lesson number 10 is going to be due. By next Tuesday, hopefully earlier. If you can't hear, I don't know if that's, can everyone else still hear? Okay, who's got a mic on? Okay, please watch those mics. I muted. Hopefully we can hear again. We will. Well, here, this I need to figure out with you guys. So, this is a tentative course calendar. Things are going to change this semester, and as they change, we're going to adapt and do what we can. I need to know from you guys if the exam was open the day of the week that you normally have your lecture. Would you be able to take the exam the day of the week that you normally have your lecture? Let me make a poll, actually. That'll help me out. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of yeses. Thank you. I'm gonna make a yes, no really fast. Normal day. Here we go. Let's pop that up there. Yeah, Symphony said if it's all day, I would. So what I'm thinking we're gonna be doing is 24 hours. If the exam was open the normal day of your lecture, so for my Monday, Wednesday friends, that would be Wednesday. Thursday friends, that'd be Thursday. Friday friends, that would be Friday. Some of us are still voting. Okay. I'll show you where we're at. A lot of us said that our normal day would work. That's good for me to know. Exams are going to be administered in Blackboard. That is for lecture and for lab. I know I had a question about the lab exam. So it's going to be a question of when the exams are open. With lab, what I will tell you is it's going to be a 50 question exam. You will have 50 minutes to take that exam. It will be open for at least 24 hours, possibly longer. That's the details I have right now. I don't know about the lecture exams. Probably going to be shorter than what we were taking in class in terms of number of questions, probably closer to the ballpark of 50 questions as opposed to 70 like we took last time. And again, that's also going to be administered through Blackboard. Tentative date, let me get a calendar. Let's see, so week 11 is here, 12, 13. Okay, if you want to write this down, the tentative date for exam 3 to be in Blackboard for you, tentative date would be for, so April 8th through the 10th. Whatever day your lecture is, 8th through the 10th, that is the tentative date. Let me see if it'll let me write that on here. April. Oh, hey, it fixes my bad handwriting. Okay. 8th through the 10th. That is our tentative date. When I know for sure, I will let you know. Yes, please be patient with me. It is a lot of planning. It's a lot of work. I know it's a lot of work for you guys, and I know there's a lot up in the air for you guys too. This is the tentative date of exam 3. Tentative date of exam 4 then is going to be, let's see, pull up my calendar. That is week 13, 14, 15. Tentative date, that's going to be the week of April 20th. And that's really all the details I can give you right now. The week of April 20th. For the sake of my own curiosity, how many of you have heard from your other instructors what they are doing in terms of timing of their final exams, their lecture finals. Can you guys give me any idea? Okay, so we got nothing. 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 Okay, so I'm not the only one that. Okay, yep. So be patient with all of your professors. Honestly, you guys, I was planning to go online this summer. So you guys are at an advantage because I had already given some thought as to what an online class would look like. Most of your instructors had no plans ever in their entire life to go online. So be especially patient with other professors. The reason I asked is because I am probably not already online. Okay, well that makes it easy then. I asked because I am probably not going to make my final exam at the technical time that it had to be scheduled for. Technically, for my friends who are Tuesday, Thursday lectures, technically your final exam was supposed to be in this week. Actually, the same thing with my Friday friends. Your exam was technically then. Unless I hear otherwise from the administration, I am going to make all my students taking their final exam at some point during week 17. Let's get the date on that one, April 20th. I guess my dates are wrong. Sorry, give me a minute. Let's see. We are right here. Okay. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay. Week 17. Why is that so hard? Okay. Did I get the date wrong on week 16? Is that where I messed up? Let's see. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. There we go. Okay. Look at this. We're already wrong. Okay, right here. This is exam 4, April 27. I apologize. April 27. We're starting over. April 27. This one was April 8, 210. Okay, guys, look at me. Dr. Ollis, come on. I can type. Oh my gosh. Okay, here we go. April, did I say 20th or 27th? 27th. Okay, thank you. Okay. Okay. Tentative date on exam 3, April 10th. Tentative date on exam 4 is the week of the 27th. Exact date, time to be determined. Unless I hear I cannot do this, I am going to give the final exam the week after that. So the week after that starts on the 4th, and I would get you guys the date and the time, so week of May 4. So here are our tentative dates. It won't let me add to that, so we'll do week of. Okay. Lab final and exam 4 are not the same week. Lab final is the week before. This one is the week of the 20th. Yes. This is the week before. Yeah, thank you for all my friends who told me the 27th. I've forgotten. Okay. Yeah, lab final is not changing. Week of May 4 for finals and other class. Okay. Okay. Multiple questions in the chat about anatomy for babies. I did address this in the frequently asked questions. We are done with new submissions on anatomy for babies. I have spent those 2 weeks building online class, not grading anatomy for babies. I am going to get them graded ASAP with an asterisk for I'm building an online class too. When I have them graded, I will send you feedback so that you can make corrections to get as many points as possible. In lieu of anatomy for babies going forward, we are going to be doing group collaborative work. So maybe now is a good time to talk about that. Before I talk about group collaborative work, are there any last minute questions about the schedule? I know it's a little bit up in the air. Like I said, be flexible with me. We're dancing. Okay. Or is that raising her hand? I can't tell. Okay. If you have a question, Pilar, you can turn on your mic if you want to, or you can type it in the chat. Either way. I'm glad you were dancing, Dustin. Coffee. Yep. Yeah, lab final, more details forthcoming. What I believe is going to happen with that is it is going to open up Monday morning, and it will be open throughout the week. So you pick the exact day that you take that final. 50 questions, 50 minutes. You will not be able to backtrack, meaning it's going to show you one question at a time. You have to answer that question, and then you move on to the next one. I believe that's what's going on with that. When I have more details, I will let you know. That's what I know at this point. Okay, so let's talk. Do we get a review for the final? I will give you a list of learning objectives for the final. It will not be all of the learning objectives from the entire semester. It will be a subset of them. So you will get an updated list of learning objectives for the final exam. That is your review. When you are done with the lecture exams, it probably will give you a grade. It probably will not let you go through and look at the exam because you finished the exam and then your neighbor hasn't taken it yet, and I can't have the answers out there. Lab exams may not release grades for a little bit. I will figure out what I can do with the lecture exams, the best timing for that. If we've already submitted Anatomy for Babies number 2, we don't need to do any more. That is correct. The rest is going to be group work. Yes, we're going to be building study guides for our 2 lecture exams. That's what we're going to do for group work to take the place of Anatomy for Babies. Yes, the learning objectives at the beginning and the end of the lecture assignments are still your best study tool. Absolutely. Yeah, sounds hard. Well, we're gonna work together and try to make it easy. What I will tell you guys is I was really sad to drop Anatomy for Babies. There's not a logistically good way for us to do that in the online environment. But I gave it a lot of thought, and I figured out that my goal with that project was to really make sure that you guys understood the most important concepts from our class. So the best way that I can do the same kind of thing with you is for me to give you some learning questions and kind of make you hash it out with each other to build something that's going to help you study for the exams. Because the goal of Anatomy for Babies was to help you study the exams, for the exams. So we're going to do those activities. Extra credit, at this point, I don't know. We'll get back to you. That's a good question. I'm going to write it down. I don't know. I'll see what I can come up with. Okay. Let's talk groups. Although I think we are, we were never dropping Anatomy for Babies grades. Those were always set. Okay, let me switch screens here. I am not sure how much it's going to let me show you since I'm just in a pretend student tab. Let me see if it'll even let me do anything. In lieu of Anatomy for Babies, what we are going to be doing now are online group assignments. So if you look here, I am in Blackboard. Over here on the left, you've got a tab that says Online Groups for Group Work Assignments. We're going down a bunny hole here. Let's see what it does. It may not do anything for me. Okay, I don't have a group. Okay, it's going to look weird. Bear with me. This is not what yours is going to look like. Please look at this on your own when we're done with our session here. When you go into this area, it is going to show you that you are in one of these groups. So right now, to help us learn how to do group assignments, we are doing an assignment to learn the technology. The goal of this assignment is to get you to learn how to update things. So I'm going to go into this first group right here. I did not pick the group members. The group members are randomly assigned. Somebody asked if we can pick. No, it's the computer is dropping them in. So you got some friends. The groups are going to shuffle for Unit 3. You'll have a group right now to learn how to use the technology, a group for Unit 3, and you'll have a group for Unit 4. What you are going to do with your group members is you're going to work on your group wiki page. So just like Wikipedia, all of you have the ability to edit your group page to put information in there. I have populated in our first assignment that I am giving you credit for is going through and answering these questions. So the 2 questions that we need to answer with our groups in our first group assignment here. Number 1, how has your daily life changed in response to coronavirus? Number 2, what are you most nervous about? And again, that's not just in our class, that's kind of in life in general. I mean, if you want to just tell me what you're nervous about in class, that's cool. Otherwise, you can tell me about life in general as well. The way that grading on these assignments is going to work is I have the ability to see how many words you put in. So if you've got a group member that goes through and does all of the work on this assignment and you never log in and you never add anything to what they're working on, I can tell. So we're building a wiki with our neighbors. 2 very easy questions that we can all answer. Maybe you're one of the lucky ones that your life hasn't changed. I'm not sure how it's possible, but hey, you can type that in for me. What you need to do with your group members is we need to go in, we need to edit the content that's in here. You add some words. If there's a typo, you can fix the typo, you can reformat. It's going to log for me what you're doing in building this, and then I'm going to go through and grade it after the assignment is submitted. Obviously, when we start doing this for course credit, I'm not going to ask you questions like this. I'm going to ask you content questions. So this is going to be your chance with your neighbors to make sure we understand a process or make sure we understand an idea. So by the end of the week, my promise for you is by the end of the week, I'm going to get you into your Unit 3 groups. Those will be the groups that are going to be graded with actual content questions. But I am going to give you credit for doing this wiki right here. So telling me how your life has changed and what you're nervous about. You and your group mates are going to collaborate on this, answer these questions, and you will get credit for these questions. Let me look at my chat. I know Parker asking about the study groups. I get that. The challenge is I need everyone in a group that's all collaborating. You are welcome to, and please do still keep your study groups. Please keep in touch with each other. Please group me, please text, do all that kind of stuff. This is not designed to be the only way that you study for these things, but this is kind of the best way that I can assess, can we explain stuff in easier terms. This is the best way I could come up with. So I know it's not perfect, but it's the best way I could come up with a week's notice. So I know I'm sorry about those study groups. Please keep those study groups because we got some great study groups going on. Minimum amount of words, no. I will be giving you, when I give you a question, I'll say here's the topics to make sure you cover. When are the group assignments due? They will be due before the exams. So I'll put out a due date for this first wiki just to make sure we're all logging in and working on it. Here, let's all make a note together. Tentative due date on the first wiki. Let's get a calendar. Tentative due date is April 1st. April Fool's Day. What a great April Fool's gift for Dr. Ollis. That is our tentative due date on our first wiki. And I will get that in writing posted for you guys. So that gives you a week and a half to figure out how to do it. Someone asked, where do you type the answers when you are in your wiki? And I'm hoping that your screen looks similar to mine. If not, send me a screenshot. When you're in your wiki, I've got edit wiki content right here. Pulls up the screen, and now there's space for me to type. So I'm typing. My neighbor types under me, etc. When you're done typing information, you will click submit. Now your changes will be saved, and your neighbor can go in and they can add their information as well. I cancel this so my friends in this group don't have I'm typing. No, don't add it in the comments section. Probably go ahead and do the edit wiki content. That's probably the easiest way to do it. Yep, click edit and then edit the wiki. Yes. We're gonna see. This is why we're doing a dry run, right? We're gonna see. Go ahead. We're gonna try to do it here in the edit wiki content. If it comes back when I go to grade these first ones, oh my gosh, this is just terrible, go ahead and put it in the comments. I will tell you guys that. I think this is going to be our best way, though, to edit the wiki content. Do I need to put my name? Then my response. For this one, I would say probably go ahead and do that, since this is a personal one. When we start doing content questions, there's no need for you to do that, because the wiki is tracking for me what content you put in there. So only for this particular one do you need to put your name, just because that helps me to keep straight and helps your neighbors to keep straight who said what in response to these questions. So you don't generally have to do that, but go ahead and do that here for this first one. Working on group wiki to the correct information. So Parker asked a question, if we end up with bad information that no one caught, there's going to be grace for things like that. What I would say is maybe, let me go back to the group here and see. Here's what I'd recommend that you also do in your groups. When you're in your group discussion board. See this right here, this option, group discussion board. I click on this. There are no discussions in here yet, but if I create a discussion board, we can set some ground rules in terms of, here's the day that we all need to have our content uploaded by. Here's the day that we're going to edit. If you want to assign questions to various people, at least to start, and then say, hey, team member number 1, you're going to answer question number 1, and then team members 2 and 3, you're going to go through and edit it. And for question number 2, that's going to be the job of person number 4. I mean, if you want to divide up work that way, or if you want to set a deadline when all the work is due, you can either communicate that to your members through the discussion board, or I'm going to go back here. You can also email each other through these groups. So maybe get an email chain going right away and say, okay, this assignment is due on this date. Let's all agree that we're going to be done inputting information so that we can all edit it on this day. That would be the best way, I would say. But again, there's going to be some grace. I'm not going to grade these like, oh my God, well, unless your answer is completely and utterly wrong and I can tell that you just completely botched it, that might hurt your grade. But the goal of these is not for me to penalize your grade. The goal of these, I'm looking to give you as much credit as possible. That is my goal. Full disclosure and honesty, that's my goal. So Parker, if we get to that point, maybe I'll contact your group and we'll address it. But I don't think, hopefully, we're going to have too much of that problem. What other questions do we have about groups? No more weekly quizzes, correct. Quizzes are done in lecture and in lab. That's why the homework assignments are worth more in your grade than they used to be, because that is our primary method of learning now. The page numbers are in the lessons. So when you're in the online learning modules, there are page numbers for each little section that you click through. So that's what those page numbers are referring to. Page numbers in the learning modules. I'm not getting any more questions about the groups. So if there are no objections, how are groups be selected? The computer randomly assigned them. That is the best way to make sure that everybody gets into a group. So I am not assigning that. I have no say over where those groups came from. That was all the computer. So that's where they came from. Excuse me. Symphony you have your hand up. Were you wanting to ask an audio question?
Yes, my chat for some reason won't let me send anything.
Okay. What is your question?
Are the lowest quiz grades still going to be dropped even though we're not taking quizzes anymore?
Correct. Yes. What I said at the beginning of the semester would be dropped, will still be dropped. Yes. So that's 2 quizzes. That's 2 homework assignments. That's the same thing in lab as well. 2 quizzes, 2 group works. Yes, everything that we originally said would be dropped will be dropped. It is not dropped yet out of your schedule or out of your grade, excuse me. I will post an announcement when I get those things dropped. But right now, my priority is building you learning activities, not currently fixing the gradebook. So they will get dropped, though. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Individual grade comes from content. So it comes, the grade for the group work is going to come from overall, did we answer the questions? And then number 2, were we an active contributor into our group? So I can see how many words you put in. If you put in 90% of the effort, that's going to cost your neighbors. Conversely, if they put in 90% of the effort and you barely did anything, that's going to cost you. So the grade is going to come from a combination of did we answer the questions and did we contribute equally. I do not have a rubric to pass along at the moment. As soon as I have one, I will get that out. Mary Lou, I don't have a number of questions yet. Still in process. My guess would be 2 to 3 questions per lesson. And then for example, there's 3 lessons that are associated with Unit 3. So you're looking at 6 to 9 questions that you're hashing out with neighbors. That's my guess. But again, still hashing out the details. Not every week a different group, every unit a different group. So you're going to have your group to learn how to do things. That's the current group you're in. You are going to see probably toward the end of the week a unit number 3 group that's going to pop up, and then unit number 4 group will pop up after we take the unit number 3 exam. What if someone answers most of it and there's no more to add? That's fine, but that's why it would be important for us to maybe assign questions to each other so that someone doesn't go in and do everything. If it happens that someone went in and answered every single question, send me an email and we'll figure out what we need to do. But use that email function to communicate with each other. How many in a group? It's going to vary, probably 3 to 5. The computer assigns it. I'm not assigning those. So 3 to 5 people probably in most groups. The number is the same. So I believe the max you can submit for Anatomy for Babies was 20. It is based off of your lab day. Yes, correct. So you will be grouped with people that were in the same day lab as you were. So theoretically, you've bumped into at least maybe one of your group members at some point in your class time. Getting on call every day equate to some kind of, I'm not quite sure what you're asking, Dustin. Coming to virtual office hours, is that what you're asking? I can't incentivize that because some people have work schedules that's not going to allow, but it's a fun idea. I love hearing from you. Yeah, joking but not joking. No, I get it. Pilar, don't just put the exact same thing in there. When you first get assigned to your group, if you're really concerned that someone's going to go through and do all of the work in your group, send out an email day one when you're in your group and tell them, we need to assign the questions. Here's what questions we should assign, and do it that way. Don't just repeat what they did for the sake of word count. Yeah, who does what and edit. Yeah, we really probably should communicate with our group. So if you want to practice that communication now in the COVID-19 thread that I made for you, either go in when we're done on our group chat and send out an email to all of your group members, or post a discussion board and say, okay, the due date on this assignment is April 1st. We need to all agree, number one, what day we're going to have all of our answers submitted by, and number two, how we're going to do editing, because that's probably going to be a best practice going forward on these assignments. With this one, everyone is all contributing a non-content answer, but that'll get you in practice for when we're doing content questions. Kuma, stick around at the end. We talked about anatomy for babies already. I will talk with you more about that later. Dustin says we have the ability to create groups. Oh, awesome. Yeah. So if GroupMe, if all of your friends are in GroupMe, or all the people that are in your group for the assignment are in GroupMe, please do make a group. I'm not a whiz at GroupMe, but yeah, if you have an ability to create a GroupMe just for your group for the assignment, please do. That would be way faster. I love that. That's a great idea. Okay, the last thing I want to make sure I hit with you guys, and then I'll stick around for questions, is I want to make sure I hit with you guys the lab activity. When you are in our Blackboard site, which we've been chilling out in here for a while, I'm going to go to Lab Resources. In Lab Resources, we're going to click on Weekly Homework Assignments. You will see the guided lab activity for the week there in the weekly homework assignments. Now, let me mention, I hope that you have already done your week 8 homework. For my Monday lab friends, you had to have done it already by this point. For my friends who are in classes as late as Friday, technically yours isn't due until Thursday night. You really want to go in and get that knocked out today. Like, we're done with week 8. We need to mentally move on from week 8. So somebody asked, where should I be in lab by tomorrow? By tomorrow, week 8 better be done. Get that knocked out. We want that off our plate. Starting with the week 11 homework, I mentioned this before, everybody's homework assignment is due Sunday at midnight because we are not meeting on campus for labs anymore. So everyone's homework is always due the same day, and that new day is Sunday. So for my friends who have their other assignment due Thursday, we don't want a Thursday assignment and then a Sunday assignment. So please go knock out week 8. If you have not already, go do the week 8 assignment. Week 11, you will see for each week a guided lab activity. Essentially, this is, if we were in class doing this together, here's what it would look like. If we were walking through activity by activity, here's the homework, and the homework is just like normal. So nothing has changed with the homework except the due date. Always Sunday at midnight. Let me see if I can get the activity to work here on my computer. I'm going to switch. I'm sharing with you. Try again. Right here. Okay. This is going to look exactly like the lecture assignments because I built it. Told you guys I've been busy. So I'm building us lab and lecture things. So here we go. You drop in, the first page has the learning objectives, and then we go through exercise number 1. First thing you were supposed to do in exercise number 1 was pull out your microscope. Unless you're way cooler than me, you don't have a microscope at home. So here are some pictures of nervous tissue, and we also recommend in here the tissue images from our slides. You need to go through and sketch yourself a picture of nervous tissue. We haven't done neurons yet in lecture. That's actually what's going to post on Wednesday. So here's a short video to show you all those parts you have to label. Here's where they are. He draws it for you and he labels it. That's exercise 1 of your lab packet. Okay. Exercise 2 of the lab packet is labeling those same parts of the neuron on our neuron models. This video matches one of those neuron models 100%. Watch this video, label the structures on that neuron model, then use your critical thinking in your application and label those same structures on the second neuron model. Then we go to exercise number 3, and notice it's talking about, let's see, this is the activity where you're matching up functions. So here's a video that tells you the functions, or you can use this section of our textbook, or you can use whatever resources you want to. When we look at this activity here for week 11, it goes through exercise by exercise in your lab packet and includes the pictures or the videos or the words that you need to complete those activities. So consider this if I was in class with you and we were talking through these lab packets together, this is what it would look like. That is, oh, I wish it was easier for me to switch screens with you. Well, no, I'll wait to switch screens. That's what you're going to do with those first exercises. Second thing, and again, I recommended this to my lab students before break, is labeling the structures of bones. So this week, we're learning the leg, essentially. That means we've got the femur, we've got the tibia, we've got the fibula. You have pictures of these bones without labels. Those labels are provided for you here. I want to highlight this website right here at the bottom. Super, super helpful for all of you who are 3D learners who like to touch and feel. This will allow you to virtually rotate a femur in 360 degrees and label the bone markings. So highly recommend this link right here that would take you to the markings on the femur. You will see that same thing for, well, not the patella, because that's easy here. The same thing here, though, for the tibia and the fibula, seeing those bones in 3D. Great website down there. So we need to go through and we need to label our bone markings. There's some labeled images for you and some websites that can help out with that. The next part of these packets, well, we got the bones of the feet as well. Study tip for you. I'll leave that for you to review. We will talk specifically about lab stuff on Thursday. So plan to come back on Thursday with your lab questions. Mention that the next part of the packet is joints. Joints and movements are 2 parts of the labs going forward that you should consider I'm not memorizing this, I am thinking my way through it. So when you're learning the names of joints, really the big thing we're going to ask you about joints is what bones do I find in that joint? Or where in the body is that joint? So any of the joints that have the part femoro in them or have femoral, they're going to be found by the femur. Any parts that say phalangeal, that means we got the phalanges. So we try to give you some critical thinking tips about where we find the joints. We are going to ask you about whether a bone marking is found close to or far from a joint based on the name of the joint. So we're going to combine together bone markings with joints because that's what bone markings are for. They're for muscle attachment and they are there for joints. Then you get into the muscles, and again, you've got pictures to help you label those muscles on the front side and the back side. This is a fun website to go through and look at the different muscles in different parts. So the front, the back, and the side with those muscles, as well as some videos here to help you pretend like you're in class and you're touching and feeling and moving those muscles. And then some guidance here about the actions of muscles. Again, I'm going to spend all day Thursday talking lab stuff. So I'm not going to go through and teach the lab packet here, but I just want to point out to you that you've got, it tells you what part of the lab packet we're in, and it gives you a guided lesson to walk you through this information. You'll pair this guided lesson with your lab packet that you already printed to help you do the homework assignment. Back to my chat. Let's see what we got going on here. Okay, no week 9 and 10 homework. That is correct, because week 9 was always spring break, and week 10 ended up being spring break, extra spring break. Kids driving me crazy. I can understand that, Dustin. We lost Dustin a little bit ago. So, I don't think, let me go to the very end. We just have learning objectives. Yep. What questions do we have about the logistics of that activity? Again, I'm going to cover content with you guys on Thursday. So no content questions right now about week 11. What logistics questions do we have about lab stuff right now? Is the lab stuff clear on muscle movement? It tried to be. Definitely tried to make it as clear as possible. And again, on Thursday, we'll be chatting through the packet if there are particular questions we have about it. Again, try to think of it in terms of I'm trying to make predictions. Everything with the joints, everything with the movements, we want to try to make predictions to see if that can take off some of the memorized load. Don't try to memorize all of the muscle movement stuff. Okay, well, my chat has gone strangely silent. Let me open the floor to any questions in general that we have now that we feel like were not answered. What are some of our general questions that we have? I'm guessing that, Mary Angel, you're asking about the group activity. And that is correct. We are done with the group activities. Logistically, there was not a way for us to translate that into an online platform. So that is done. We will be dropping 2 of those as well. I forgot to mention that 2 of the lab group works drop out as well. No more word banks for lab. Yes, that's correct, because the lab exam has become multiple choice. Don't quote me on that. If I hear that we will still have some fill in the blank type stuff, I will let you know. The format will probably be similar to your homework assignments, would be my guess, on the lab final exam. So we will not need a word bank for the final exam. Definitely still follow the lecture packets once they are updated. Yes. When I get lesson number 10 up, I will post an updated lesson number 10 as well. That's going to be your best bet to stay on track with content. All your printing for lab are those weekly packets. If you already printed the weekly packets, you've got what you need for lab. So no new things to print for lab. Group online work is for lecture, correct? Yes, so that's going to be questions related to lesson number 9. I've already got some questions in mind for that one. Building some questions for number 10, and then we'll have a couple of questions from number 11 as well. That is correct. Something I said made Mary Angel happy. I'll take it. I need to make somebody happy today. It's been one of those weeks, right? Lab packets for studying, correct? I would say approach your studying the same way that you did when we were in person. So the lab packets are the main way to study for lab. Those lecture outlines, you're going to fill in with doing the online lessons. Use those as your study methods as well. Oh, thanks, Eileen. We don't have the ability to give online feedback, which is probably a good thing, right? I don't want to know all the thumbs downs that I got today, but I would give you a little heart for your little comment there. So how do exams work online? That's a great question. I will get back to you. They will be open for an as of yet undetermined period of time. You will work through them. They will probably be a little bit different than the homework assignments in that probably it will be one question at a time. Probably you will not be able to backtrack in those assignments. That would be my guess. Let me see if it saved my writing. Otherwise, I might need someone to help me out. Let me see really fast if it kept my writing on the calendar. I bet it didn't. Let me see. Okay, I need someone after class or after our virtual class to do me a favor and just send me the dates that we put on this calendar. I will get you information about testing ASAP when I have more information about testing. Go back. I will not be teaching A&P2. I am sorry. I will get there one day. It is not that day yet. I'm sorry. I know. I'm sorry. I had seen, and I hadn't mentioned it earlier, I'd seen the question, what's happening in summer? Yep, there it is again. The answer is, I don't think administration knows. I was always planning to teach online in the summer, so that's good for me. But yeah, some of the things I've been hearing is that not from TCC. TCC is, as you all know, very slow to make decisions, right? What I've been hearing from public schools is they aren't planning probably to open up until August, possibly, but I don't know. Yeah, how do we sign up for classes on the 30th? So classes, it's not that they're planning to cancel classes. It's just a question of, are they going to be on site or online, is what I've heard. So I would say plan to sign up for classes like you would have. Assume that they will be on site, but prepare yourself for the possibility of them being online. Thank you for the dates. Let me write those down. Okay, week of the 10th, 8th through the 10th, 20th, 27, May 4. Yeah, so we're trying to exchange hints about who to take. Mary Angel, did you have someone that everyone is now asking you, who are you taking in the summer? Oh, do I have a suggestion? I haven't looked at the schedule. My guess is it still open on the 30th? As far as I know, they're going to open it up on the 30th, and we're going to assume that it's going to be like a regular session. Faculty are asking the same questions you guys are, and I'm sorry that we don't have a better answer. Yeah, we don't know if it's online in the summer or if it's in person. I wouldn't be surprised if it ends up online, which is real unfortunate. Any refund for online classes? Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree that you didn't pay for online if you cheated. I get that. I have not heard that from anybody, but I will ask. Let me add that to my list of questions. I have heard of other residential colleges kicking their students off and not refunding room and board, which seems real not nice. I wouldn't be surprised if there will not be any refund, unfortunately. I know the dissections, that's the sad part. The sheep brain was always really fun. Have any idea when they will know if summer is online? I don't at this point. With how long they waited to officially call this semester online, what day does summer term start? Like the 3rd of June? June 2nd? No, I hope they'll call it sooner. I think the next couple of weeks are going to be kind of critical in terms of what happens here in W. Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be eradicated by the summer. Whether things are opening up again is the big question. I'll ask my department chair if they have heard any rumblings as to which way they think we're leaning. I think if you really want in person, I would wait till fall. Honestly, I'm not optimistic about the summer being on site. I don't have any official intel to tell you that, but that would be my guess. Ooh, taken in summer too. Well, only take that class and live and breathe A&P2 in summer 2 then, because that's what it's going to take. Possibly, yeah. I need to figure out extra credit opportunities, maybe something related to COVID, maybe something else. But yeah, I definitely am going to think about extra credit stuff for sure. Made it summer 1 and summer 2. Yeah. At our campus, we only teach A&P2 the entire 10 weeks. I believe Northwest does it in summer 2. They do A&P1 in summer 1 and A&P2 in summer 2. But yeah, you got to live and breathe A&P, and probably not sleep, which is not good when there's a rabid virus in the world. Yeah, officially, I did check on that one. Science Learning Center and library are closed. Science Learning Center is gearing up to go virtual. When I have more details about virtual Science Learning Center stuff, I will get those posted to Blackboard ASAP. So I think their goal is to get their virtual session stuff set up Wednesday, I believe is what they were saying. So there should be some more information about that. You're welcome, Mary Lou. I'm happy to pass along anything that I can. I don't have a lot of answers, but I'll try to give you what I know. So, okay, well, I'll just mention, let me pull up, as we're wrapping up here, pull up one more time. Here is that virtual office hours schedule. We have just, we've just knocked out here Monday. So getting online, this is what online looks like. Tomorrow session, same time. I'm trying to decide if it'll be the same place. We're up to 75 in my office now, so that's exciting. What I want you to do for tomorrow, if possible, is really start working on lesson number 9. So remember, these page numbers that you see listed here are those pages that you click through in the lesson. It's not the page numbers of your notes packet, because I don't even think the packet's 11 pages long. So if you want to work ahead, please do. Highly recommend that. So tomorrow we will at least discuss the first half of lesson number 9. Please bring me your questions, because otherwise we're going to get real bored. You'll all be staring at me and it'll get really boring. So bring some questions, bring some ideas that you have about what you want for help. Tomorrow is lesson number 9 at the beginning. Wednesday we'll do some more lesson number 9 stuff. What I'll say too is, if we don't have a lot of specific questions about lesson number 9, the second half, I would also be willing to do some lab stuff here too. So you can bring me lab questions on Wednesday as well. Again, Thursday is primarily that lab day for us, but I'm not opposed to doing lab questions on lecture days. So please just bring your questions. I am here for you guys. So you're welcome. Yes, good luck to all of us as we all transition through. Feel free to email me. I'll do my best to stay on top of that. I'm really working hard right now on lesson number 10 to get that out to you. So by Wednesday we should have that, and we'll just keep plugging on here. I gotta put up my my thing that I started with here, because it's for my friends who came in a little bit late. Let me pull this up real fast. Here's my philosophy for you guys. So we'll end it on this one here. Here's how I feel. Yeah, fist bump. I love it. My 3-year-old knows how to fist bump. So, all right. Yeah, Mary Beth says, I won't be here. Looking forward to the recordings. Absolutely. I'm going to record them. I think we're probably to the point in the session where I'm going to stop the recording and I'll chill out in here for a little bit longer as needed. So to all my friends on the recording, hopefully you can come to a live session soon. Good luck with your studying and please let me know if you have questions.